I've never used this device before, and it's an Apple, and I am so unfamiliar with Apple. So please forgive me. I'm doing this live because more people seem to see the lives these days, and so I wanted to, yeah, it might be a little longish at the end. I'm not sure. We'll see. It was just going to be super quick, so I'll start where I was going to start. Anyways, greetings and salutations. I hope everybody is well. Comments will be turned on after the video is over. Just for the sake of my own sanity at this point. I hope everybody's having a great day. It's still raining here, and I feel like I just need to build an ark at this point. I am sleepy. Hey, Jacques. I am sleepy and still stuffy, but I feel like I'm turning a corner, so I'm just kind of overdosing on vitamin C. So the end. This is weird. I'm running out of everything at the same time. Just like household wise and like, I don't know, person wise, I guess to say. I don't know how to say that. But what I found was weird was that I got this when I first started like coming back to God and having those really out there dreams. Please forgive my hands. They're raw from washing them so much and taking care of my dog, and I have not painted my fingernails. I don't really pay attention to that stuff a whole lot anymore. So I apologize. Again, I'm not a posh YouTuber. But I thought that it was odd because I got this and I had done like daily lessons in it and talked about like the gift of tongues and what that really meant. And I didn't write in it every day. I have a couple others that I keep around for more personal things. Please forgive Sam. He is eating his peanut butter and going to town. Little girl, go lay down, honey. Go lay down. She wants me to lay with her. So yeah, I got this, and I have a couple others that I write in. But this one's a pretty regular one, at least, you know, maybe once a week, once every couple weeks, if nothing else. And then, you know, I have periods where I write every day. But it's strange because I'm at the end. Can I show you? Yeah. Like, there's like 2 pages left. I wrote a tiny bit last night. And so I thought that was just rather symbolic of, you know, maybe my life is going into this new stage or new season. We are coming on to a new season of spring as well, with all of these other conjunctions in the sky. And I wanted to talk about that real quick and touch base on something. Let's look at Joan of Arc and St. Michael. People, you know, there was once a king, and kings have to be favored in some way because they get that position, right? They get put in that position. Somehow they are favored from above, I believe. Even the unruly dictators that we get, that is a sort of judgment upon us, is what wiser men than myself have said, and I would agree with that. And so it feels like we're in a time of judgment now, but I want to relate to a story of a king who was favored by God, but because of his position, he grew so arrogant and prideful that he forgot about God. He consulted God less and less and relied on his own mind. And then he started to really fall from grace. Now, at first he was a judgment upon the people, but then he had judgment upon himself, and he was cast out in terms of mental wellness. He went into a state of unreasoning. He was unable to properly reason like human beings can and do and are supposed to. And he was literally, you know, slowly over time, he was turned into a literal beast of a man. And how does that happen, right? Well, it happens when you're not charitable of speech and things come out that shouldn't. And I know that this is some type of purgatory. You can call it karma. that I'm experiencing. And what I'm doing is trying to allow that experience to help others who are going through similar experiences. Now, we're going to look at this in a minute, but again, I'm leading up to something. We could look at our own leader at this time, who over the past probably decade seems to have his senses have taken leave of himself. Now, that is probably by design on many different levels. But if we look back to this king, he started to rely on his own mind, and he started to allow materialistic things to take over his mind, and he was not for the people any longer. And if we look at that story of that king from then, it explains a bit what's happening and what we're seeing with the alleged president, not my president, of America. I personally believe he's leading us into ruin and doom. I do not vote. I do not want to align myself with these insane people. And I think that's what's happening to a lot of regular folks too. If we look back to this king, it started slowly with gluttony. Money can get to you, and you start to use money to solve your problems, and you throw money at people. And then you want power because money's not enough, right? And we can see that in the story of our own leader and that family and everything that's being brought to light at this time. But what eventually happened to that king back then, we can relate to what is happening to the alleged leader of the quote-unquote free world today. This king back then got so arrogant and so consumed with the lust and greed for power and money and food and women that he was sent into the fields as a beast to behave as a beast. So if we're not understanding what's happening today, we could just assume that if it's true, half of what we've heard about this man, that is the reason for the decline in his sanity. That is the reason he has taken leave of himself. When you hold that stuff in and you don't let go of it and you don't confess and you don't try to cleanse yourself, it keeps adding up and piling up and piling up. And looking back to that king, if we look to this leader today, we have to ask ourselves, where is this eventually headed with this man? What is going to become of him? He does not look like he used to look. Many people do not any longer seem to appear the way they used to appear. Something very strange is happening amongst people. They're trying again to throw this cloak of illness on top of it and inventing these outrageous terminologies to compensate and make up for what is going on, instead of being honest with ourselves. We can't keep condoning this ridiculous behavior of people taking leave of their senses. It's not okay. Just because it's not happening to you or me or Bob down the street, it's happening to somebody. And when people and leaders start denying basic, visible, scientific facts, natural law that we can, mostly all of us agree on, whether you have God or you're a pagan, most of us agree that there is a natural order to things. We are seeing this decline in this man and these people because of their behaviors, because of what they are doing. So now we can evidently see that when our behavior declines, it affects those of us around us to the point where it could infect the entire society. Now, I'm not a psychology major. I'm not a doctor. The disclaimers will be in the description. But I am a citizen, and I am trying to do my due diligence because I was negligent too before, and I watched my entire family's behavior start to change, and I'm seeing it happen again in people, a very clear demarcation between those who have recognition of a scientific hierarchy in the world and an empiric system, and those who are denying basic visible facts. We can argue about theology all day. We can argue about religion or politics all day. But I'll be darned if I'm going to look at a tree and I'm going to say, that's a human being. Now, maybe their terminology was different back in the day. I'm not going to deny that at all. That's why we look into etymology, so that we can't be fooled with their word play and word spells. And that's behind the scenes. That's a spirit behind things, right? And I don't mean a little spirit elf that runs around. I mean a general overall societal spirit that is taking hold, and we can't keep encouraging and validating when people go insane. And what we're seeing in our leaders today, and in church leaders, having football events inside. Don't call yourself a church, please. Please just don't call yourself that, because you're a circus. You're not a church. There is no reverence there. When we take leave of our senses and we have a basic disconnect with truth, this is what happens. Our society is under judgment, and that's why I do what I do. And so this journal, I found it very weird that I'm at the very end of it, and I got it at the beginning of when I started this. And this is what I told you we would get into, but I had to go over what a reprobate state means. We are seeing unprecedented levels of, there's nothing else to call it but insanity, with a majority of folks out there. And when this happens, it does not just affect that person or their neighbor or their loved ones, it ripples out. And when it so happens that you have a leader who was elected, and you had millions of people sign their name and elect that leader, they are under whatever spiritual influence he is under, because they just signed on with him. They basically married that man for the next 4 years through a soul tie. I'm not voting for these people. I don't even know that they're real individuals. I'm not going to vote for an AI or part of the hive or whatever it is. Now, if God thinks we need judgment, and that's what happens, I mean, look where we're sitting. But we're arrogant, right? We don't think we need each other. We don't think we need help. And if we do need help, God forbid you admit that, then you're considered weak. If you admit that you need help and that community is important, and that making a communal effort to hold ourselves to a higher set of standards, man. We're watching our brothers and sisters and men and women go insane, and we're allowing it to happen because we don't want to offend them, or because we don't want that to be accused of hate speech or be called a Karen or to be labeled mentally unstable, because we say, hey, you're really going downhill, and it's affecting not just you, but those around you and those that you're supposed to be protecting and or leading. Because when you have this level of debauchery at the top of any hierarchical system, empiric system, it trickles down and infects the entire place. That's why pyramid, like step, that was for agriculture and gardens and the proper growing of things, because things you watered at the top that needed the most water could then, trickle down, or the least water and the most sun would trickle down and go to the other plants. That's what we're seeing take place with our world leaders. We're allowing them to take leave of their senses, and it's infecting everyone. Everyone. Now, I'm not saying to be over-involved or get over-emotional or to watch the news all day, because I highly discourage that. I highly encourage getting out in nature in a safe way. Do not leave your garbage everywhere, but just getting out to take a moment and breathe with yourself, alone, with your dog, with your daughter that you need to reconnect with, or your son or your brother or your sister or your aunt. These relationships, and I'm talking mostly to the young folks, are important. You don't think you need anyone now. You think that you are on top of the world and that there is this new system coming in. I know it because of how I've heard my own children speak. We have been negligent long enough. Now, again, I'm not a preacher, I'm not a political leader, I'm not any of those things. But you should be concerned citizens just like me. And we've been going over, and there's a reason I do this, and that's why I turn off the comments. Don't tell me I'm leading people to paganism or any of that stuff. This is about humanity as a species, as a whole. Okay? We might not all be God's children spiritually, but we are all God's children. We were all created, even if by proxy, from the same source of being. And so when we look at these prophecies that reach across faith systems, belief systems, demographics, and they start to hold a common thread, I think it's important to take a look at them, because somebody was trying to warn us all this time. Many people have tried to warn us, and we've not listened. We are already under judgment regardless of what happens on the 8th. This is why we have a leader who has literally taken leave of his senses and is insane at this point. He is Nebuchadnezzar for all intents and purposes right now. And I don't think he's the AC. I think he's like St. John the Baptist, but in reverse, the inverted version. He is leading in the Antichrist. All of this is a show and a parade and a coming out party for that unholy trinity. So this is the Essene gospel. It is suspected that Christ was an Essene. Obviously, he was not a Christian. He did not worship himself. He prayed to the Father God in heaven. And it is said by some that these were his practices, that he was minimalistic. Now, we've looked at the Hopi prophecies. We've looked at what the Navajo and the Iroquois and the Lakotas believed about eclipses and solar activities. We've looked at the book of Revelation, and I would still like to look at some Sumerian influences. But right now, this is the Essene book of Gospel of Peace. And this is the section dedicated to just prophecies alone. Okay, now I'm going to try and read this. I don't know how it's going to go. I might just upload this separately but I like you guys to be able to follow along. So it says, "Hearken unto me, my people, and give ear unto me. Lift up thine eyes to the heavens, and look upon the earth beneath. For the heavens shall vanish away like smoke, and the earth shall wax old like a garment. And they that dwell therein shall die in like manner. But my kingdom shall be forever, and my law shall not be abolished. And in that day," and the law above all is love. I mean, if you want to cut it down to the bare bones for people who maybe don't know Christ yet or don't know the gospel, love above all things will keep you from erring usually. But you have to have Christ to do that. "And in that day, how shall enlarge herself?" Now, this is what confuses me, because right now it seems like we have been taken over by fallen angel entities. I don't know what else to call them. Some people call them aliens. I don't personally care. It doesn't matter to me. It probably matters to them. This is why you're seeing all this confusion being brought as well. It's not just everyday average folks that you're seeing all over TikTok. These are people who are highly occultic. They have taken alchemy and Gnosticism to a laughable measure almost, and they have taken leave of their senses, and they're not all completely of mankind. And the Bible talks about this. You know, we are warned about all of this stuff. People can keep denying it and making fun, but the longer people deny it, then they're going to fall into a delusion too, and they will be just as insane as our leaders. This is a communal problem that we have here. And in that day hell shall enlarge herself and open her mouth without measure, and the glory, the pride, and the pomp of the wicked shall descend into it. And the mean man shall be brought down, and the mighty man shall be humbled. As the fire devoureth the stubble, and the flame consumeth the chaff, so their root shall be as rottenness, and their blossom shall go up as dust. I haven't read this yet. I had it bookmarked to read with you guys. Because they have cast away the holy law of the heavenly order, and despised the word of the children of light. And in that day one will look unto the land, and behold only darkness and sorrow. And the light in the heavens shall be darkened. The leaders of the people shall cause them to err. I was just talking. See, I promise you I did not read this verse, but whatever. And they that are led of them shall be destroyed. For every one is a hypocrite and an evildoer, and every mouth speaketh folly. I know this isn't popular. I know I've lost a lot of the friendly viewers I had, and I've gained a lot of trolls. I have to push forward. I have to power on and do what I'm, fulfill my purpose. Everybody has a purpose here, and this is part of mine. And I can't be negligent anymore. I have to practice these things that I'm speaking of to everybody all the time. And so that's, why I do this. Sorry, this is very uncomfortable for me. Again, I'm not an actress. I don't have an agent. I don't have a studio, nothing like that. This is just my little desk. Wickedness burneth as the fire. Now, this sounds familiar because it was just saying how the sun would be darkened. Revelation says that. The Hopi prophecies talk about the red Kachina and the blue Kachina, and the star getting darker. So this is a theme that we see through all the prophecies that we have read about the sky darkening and turning to sackcloth. The last time all of these events occurred was with Christ's crucifixion. And it would make sense that Satan or darkness would celebrate that and roll out its unholy trinity in a very similar way. And that's why I say the POTUS right now, not my POTUS, but whatever, he is acting as John the Baptist and going to roll this guy out. I think that's what's coming. Again, I'm just being obedient. And you can read this and kind of get to understand that. And just like the illumination of consciousness, I've done many videos on that. It started on the first channel. I've been talking about that for a long time. I'm glad other people are catching on. And the 3 days of darkness. Now, illumination of consciousness, I have had my life and every sin that I committed passing by my eyes for the last almost 7 years, but the last 5, more specifically the last 2. They say that happens before you die. I don't know why this is happening, but I do know I am personally going through my own purgatory. My point would be is if people are going through their purgatory now, that would mean purgatory is about to come to an end. There would be no more need for it. So I'm going to power on whether I get likes or views or whatever, and that's why I turn the comments on. But I love you guys no matter who you are, and I pray for us all every day. Wickedness burneth as the fire, it shall devour the briars and the thorns. And it's relating people here to plants, to the plant kingdom. It shall kindle, burn in the thickets of the forest, and shall mount up like the lifting of smoke. Through the wrath of the law shall the land be darkened, for this hath man wrought upon himself. This is also living against nature and natural order, pollution, not sustainably living, okay? This is making ourselves a burden on each other and the land. Again, the Native Americans knew that you had to rotate crops. Farmers know that you have to do this, and we have sat upon the same land, not rotating anything for generations now. Anyways, I'll continue. And the people shall be as the fuel of the fire, no man shall spare his brother. Every house shall be against itself, and every house shall fall. Woe unto them that have kept not the holy law. Woe unto the crown of pride. Woe unto those who lust after the things of the world and corrupt themselves with wrongdoing, who err in vision and stumble in judgment. For they are a rebellious people, a lying people, people who will not hear the law of the Lord, which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things. Meaning, this group of people, they are the scoffers, the mockers, the laughers, the ones telling me not to do this. That's ironic. People like me, not just me. People like Isaiah. I'm not any of those people. I'm the least, the very least, if I get into heaven at all. This is my penance. Anyway, but speak unto us as smooth things, prophesy deceits. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. Woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field, till there be no place that a man may be alone in the midst of the earth, meaning the cities, right? You have taken up all of the land. Woe unto them that rise up early in the morning, not to commune with the angels, but to follow strong drink and to continue until night. That party goers, things of that nature. And strong drink can be coffee to wake you up in the morning, and so you keep on powering through all day, right? And you're not taking a moment to recognize even your own spirit within you. To the fumes of the wine inflame them. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness. Woe unto them that turn aside the needy from judgment. If you just got here, this is the Essene Gospel of Peace prophecy. This is not the book of Revelation. We've already done the book of Revelation. We've done some Native American. Sammy fell asleep and he's dreaming. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll try to hold this steady and read at the same time. And take away the right from the poor. Taking away the right of the poor and the homeless, maybe? Telling them they have to get off the land? Ask any Native American Indian. Nobody owns the land. That make of windows their prey, and rob the fatherless. Wherefore it shall come to pass that the hand of the Lord shall lop the bow with the judgment of the law, and the high ones of stature shall be hewn down, elitists, and the haughty shall be humbled. Those who, divas, that type of mentality. Hollywood, how ye, and not Hollywood, we see it in churches, we see it everywhere. It's in me, it's in you. We all have pride. How ye, and we have pride now. Look at how many people were watching to how many are watching now. Because when your heart gets convicted or your spirit gets convicted, you just turn the channel and you stop listening. And that is grieving the Holy Spirit within you. God is trying to talk to you. How ye, for the day of the law is at hand, it shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. And they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth, a woman in labor. They shall be amazed one at another, but their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate. And again, this is the Essene Gospel of Peace. This is their prophecy end book. It is said that Christ spent time with the Essenes. Obviously, he was not a Christian. He did not worship himself. Okay, he told us that he was the way to the Father, and he was only through Christ are we brought to know who the Father is. The Muslims, the Jews, everybody else say that God is an unknowable force, and that is not true. Don't listen to that. And also saying at the end times, like, people will let go of sound doctrine. Doctrine doesn't just mean religious doctrine. It's talking about natural law, scientific doctrine, meaning biological, clear and present, scientific fact. That's what doctrine means as well. And they have taken leave of their senses, all of the leaders, allowing the things that they're allowing. There should not be doctors around who are performing these surgeries on anyone, period. Our people need healed. Our spirits need healed. And that's not going to happen through cutting up of our bodies. And that's only going to put permanent damage on someone who maybe could have been healed, spiritually through some type of assistance, just by having a friend there in most times. To lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. It shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall punish the host of the high ones, elitists, and the kings of the earth upon the earth, and they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison. And the Lord shall come forth out of his place, and will come down and tread upon the high places of the earth, and the mountains shall be molten under him. and the valleys shall be cleft as war before the fire, as the waters pour down a steep place. Then the moon shall vanish, and the sun be obscured. Right there. And again, I did not read this before coming on here with you guys. I had the page marked. This is the prophecies of the gospel of peace, of the Essene gospel of peace, sorry. We've already done the book of Revelation. I'm trying to show you how similar across humanity all of these end time prophecy books are. They've all been trying to talk to us, but have we listened? Love somebody today. Pick up litter. Do whatever small thing you can do to ignite that love in the spirit within you today, so that you can forgive your neighbor and do something kind for them. That's how it starts. Honestly, with just small awareness, being aware of yourself and how you affect those around you. And I want to get this all out, so I'll continue. So it said, the moon shall go away, and the sun shall be obscured, and the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. Now, a sackcloth means that you throw, like, harsh linen, right? A potato bag or whatever word I'm looking for there, sackcloth, over the entire sky, right? So the sun shall be darkened in its going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine, and the Lord will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place. Now we have these things called what? Skyquakes? Never heard of that as a child. Never saw these blood moons as a child. They can always say this, that, or the other happened way back then. We don't know that they're being honest, but we do know that we seem to be able to track these things. I'm not saying events always happen with these things. I'm saying it's cyclical. Perhaps it's also a filtering out of souls. You know, we are being filtered, refined, and all that, just like Willy Wonka. And again, I think there was a reason that story went viral. And I think it was spiritual. Okay. And the Lord shall shake the heavens, and now we have skyquakes, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the day of the wrath of the law, in the day of the fierce anger of the Lord, and the shining city shall be laid waste, and wild beasts of the desert shall lie there. The hay shall wither away, the grass shall fail, and in all the earth there shall be no green thing. You know, when I walk in the grass now, and I noticed this last year and didn't say anything because, again, I thought it was just me. And it's wet. Afterwards, like when I go back outside, like an hour later, 2 hours later, it's dark. It's like almost black. And it doesn't matter where it's at. And it's not just me. It's like something in the plants, right? It's not me leaving that behind per se. It happens whenever there's pressure put upon it or whatever. But it's just strange. And I thought I'd mention it. And a couple of our trees around here look almost like they're bleeding, but not like sap, like, I don't know how to explain it. So in that day shall the strong cities be as a forsaken bow, and a temper of hail shall sweep away the refuge of lies. And we're having that now, season of exposure. God gave me that message probably 3 years ago now on the main channel, if you were there. And the angry waters shall overflow the hiding place of the wicked, and there shall be upon every high mountain and upon every high hill rivers and streams of water in the day of the great slaughter, when the towers fall. That's interesting. We've talked a lot about towers. In that day shall the light of the moon be as the light of the sun, and the light of the sun shall be sevenfold. So it'll be really hot. That's what I was just going to say today. Maybe it's a good thing we're getting all this rain, because I feel like it's going to be a rough season coming up. Behold, the name of the law cometh from far, burning with hot anger, and the burden thereof is heavy. The lips of the Lord are full of indignation, and his tongue is as a devouring fire. He shall show the strength of his arm with the flame of consuming fire. If you just stepped in, this is the gospel, Essene Gospel of Peace. This is their book of prophecies. With scattering and tempest and hailstones, the land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for the sons of men have turned away from the law. The city of confusion is broken down. That'll be a good thing. Every house is shut up, that no man may come in. Again, we've been warned about this. A lot of us Catholics especially, not to, and I mean by the spirit within. We didn't have to have anyone tell us. And again, you lose subs for saying things like this, but all you got to do is look around, man. And it shall come to pass that he who fleeth from the noise of the fear shall fall into the pit. And I told you, don't go running in panic. Only prey runs, right? We have to stand firm in truth and faith and love. And he that cometh up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the snare. For the windows from on high are open, and the foundations of the earth do shake. The earth is utterly broken down, the earth is clean dissolved, the earth is moved exceedingly. Then the moon shall be confounded, confused. The sun shall be ashamed to shine. And the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall fall and not rise again. And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their host shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. The waters shall fail from the sea, and wormwood, and the rivers shall be wasted and dried up. Streams of water shall be turned into pitch black goo, and the dust thereof into brimstone. And the land thereof shall become burning pitch black goo, and the smoke shall not be quenched by night or day. Face masks, and no man shall pass through it. Again, I did not read this ahead of time. You probably won't believe me, but it's just the truth. Sorry, I don't have a better setup, but I wanted you guys to see the words and everything that go along with the book. But the cormorant and the bittern shall possess the land. What is a cormorant? Somebody look that up. I can't use my tool right now. And the bittern shall possess the land. The owl also and the raven shall dwell in it. The raven is symbolic in everybody has a story about a raven, even Catholics. So it's been used in good and negative ways. The owl also has been used in good and negative ways. Now, when you're a child, we're told that owls are wise, right? And they're only awake at night. So darkness, that's also a theme. And there shall stretch out upon it the line of confusion and the stones of emptiness. They shall call the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none shall be there. And all her princes shall be nothing, and thorns shall come up in her palaces, nettles and brambles in the fortresses thereof, and it shall be a habitation of dragons, and a court for owls. That's hopefully symbolic. I'll look at that a little later, and I'll meditate on that today in prayer. The ambassadors of peace shall weep bitterly, and the highways shall lie waste. No gas. And probably, I've been thinking about global warming, and I don't believe it is what they say it is, obviously. However, all of the concrete that we have everywhere heats things up tremendously. That's why cities are so hot. I know this growing up in Pittsburgh. That's not going to be a good thing if it's a really, really bad summer and wildfires are a risk. You want to watch for that. You want to be careful. It's never a bad idea to have like a bug out bag or whatever. I have one. I am getting things for it and putting them in it just in case I need it. So yeah. The ambassadors of peace shall weep bitterly. We did that. The glory of forests shall be consumed, and the fruitful field. Yea, the trees shall be so few that a child may count them. Behold, the day shall come that all is in the earth, and all that which thy fathers have laid up in store, preppers, shall be carried up in smoke. So not just preppers, but how we're seeing all these warehouse fires now and all these food factory fires. Wow, this is wild. For ye have forgotten thy heavenly Father and thy earthly mother. Now again, this is the Essene Gospel of Peace. This is their prophecy book. If you'd like background on that, I will find a link and attach it for the year that this was unearthed. But the Essenes, there's a long history of them that is pre-Christianity, obviously. Oh, that thou wouldst rend the heavens, that thou wouldst come down, that the mountains might flow down at thy presence when thy hand showed forth the power of the law. Thou comest down in fury, the mountains flowed down at thy presence, and the melting fires burned. Behold, thou art wroth, for we have sinned. And again, I know this isn't popular. People don't want to hear this. But a lot of times, if you're a parent, you know that you don't want to hear things, but you have to hear them. You need to hear them. especially for change to take place. We are like the troubled sea when it cannot rest, whose waters cast up mire and dirt. We trust in vanity and speak lies. 1 feet run to evil, wasting and destruction are in our paths. We grope for the wall like the blind. We stumble at noonday as in the night. We are in desolate places as dead men. But now, O Heavenly Father, thou art our Father. We are the clay, and thou art the potter. And we are thy people. Thy holy cities are a wilderness. Thy forests are consumed. All thy earth is desolation. Our holy and beautiful house, where our fathers praised thee, is burned up with fire. Wow, that makes me think of the fire at Notre Dame, because that was a pretty classic and epic cathedral. Even the ancient lore of our father Enoch is trampled in the dust and ashes. The books of Enoch. And I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form and void, and the heavens, and they had no light. I beheld the mountains, and lo, they trembled, and all the hills moved lightly. That's wild that the Essenes refer to Enoch here. He's a much venerated person. I beheld, and lo, there was no man, and all the birds of the heavens. I beheld, and lo, the fruitful place was a wilderness, and all the cities thereof were broken down at the presence of the Lord and by his fierce anger. For thus hath the Lord said, the whole land shall be desolate, yet will I not make a full end? Behold, the hand of the law is not shortened. Hold, please. This is a little ghetto, dare I say. That's just my lingo from back in the day. That's how old I am. I apologize. I'm not a posh YouTuber. I will work on a better setup. This phone is the other phone I just got as well. So I wanted to see what the video was like. It looks a little yellowed to me though. That it cannot save, neither is the ear of the law heavy, that it cannot hear. From out of the desert shall I bring forth a seed, and the seed shall be planted in the garden of the brotherhood, and it shall flourish, and the children of light shall cover the barren land with tall grass and trees bearing fruit, and they shall build the old waste places. Now the Hopi prophecies say the same thing, that only those who go back to the ways of nature, natural law, will thrive and flourish. And that's just well known. And again, I lose people from watching it when you tell them the truth. We say we want the truth, but then we don't listen when we hear it because our hearts become convicted. If it wasn't truth, you wouldn't feel that way on the inside. I know this because it happened to me, and I was blessed to run into some people on the internet, on YouTube, who fed me like a baby at first, just little bits, and told me where to go find certain information and what to read and how to pray and everything. Anyways. Okay, neither is the day of the law heavy. They shall plant a seed in the garden of the brotherhood. They shall repair the waste cities, the desolation of many generations. They shall be called the repairers of the breach and the restorers of paths to dwell in. They shall be a crown of glory on the head of the Lord and a royal diadem in the hand of the law. The wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them. See, it gets better. And the desert shall rejoice. As long as we are living right, it gets better. And blossom as the rose, it shall blossom abundantly and rejoice even with joy and singing. The eyes of the blind shall be opened. That's a good thing because too many people, again, are thinking these problems can be solved by throwing money at them or putting band-aids on them. This is a spiritual sickness, and we can see that now in the leader of the alleged free world, our president. He has went reprobate. And you can see it in the people around you. I know you can. And the jokes they tell, maybe their veneers or their masks are slipping at this point, especially if you were ever in lockdown with them and you suddenly had to spend more time with the people that you lived with and didn't know them. Yeah, people stop listening because they know it's true. It just is happening, and it's everywhere. And, you have to guard your eye gates, your ear gates, but also you have to guard the door to your home, and you have to clean house, spiritually speaking and literally speaking. So the wilderness shall be glad for them. The desert shall rejoice. It shall bloom abundantly, even rejoice with joy and singing. The eyes of the blind shall be open, and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. Then shall the lame man leap up as a hart, and the tongue of the dumb shall sing. For in the wilderness shall waters break out. See, even Nebuchadnezzar, as I was talking in the beginning, even that king who went pure beast mode, he was so reprobate, he was pulled back out of that. There is hope, right? There is hope, always. And the flowing streams in the desert and the parched ground shall become a pool. I'm sorry if I'm a little loud, too. My ear is just so plugged. It's getting better, but it's still raining outside, so I don't think it's going to go away. And the thirsty land springs of water, and a highway shall be there, and a way, and it shall be called the way of the law. The unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall be for the children of light. And again, everybody uses their own terminology. The Hopi call them the rainbow children. Some people the New Agers call them the indigo children. But we all know that the last generation, whatever that one is a wicked generation. And so we all have to be very careful right now. To cross over the eternal river unto the hidden place. Let me fix that. Sorry. And the children of men shall return to the earth and come unto the infinite Garden of Eden, with songs and everlasting joy upon their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains. Revelation says something similar. And shall be exalted above the hills, and all the sons of men of the earth shall flow unto it, and many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the tabernacle of the holy law. And the holy angels will teach us of the ways of the heavenly Father and the earthly Mother, and we will walk in the paths of the righteous. For out of the garden of the brotherhood shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from the children of the light. And the Lord shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. That's interesting, basically saying that all the ones that we've had to, all the ones that have ridiculed and reprimanded, like the homeless and things like that, like they're going to be made to work. All the ones who have been a part of establishing Babylon and indulged in it freely or whatever, and, influenced others to do that. Nation shall not be lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. Hear the voices of the brothers which cry aloud in the wilderness, prepare ye the way of the law. Make straight in the desert a highway for our God. Every valley shall be exalted. I think that is the last, almost. And every mountain and hill shall be made low, and the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough places plain. And the voice of the heavenly Father shall be heard. I, even I, am the law, and beside me there is no other. Yea, before the day was, I am he, and there is none that can deliver out of my hand. Hearken unto me, O children of light. I am he, I am the first, I also am the last, Alpha and Omega. Mine hand also hath laid the foundation of the earth, and my right hand hath spanned the heavens. Hearken unto me, O children of light. Ye that know righteousness, my children, in whose hearts is my law. Ye shall go out with joy and be led forth with peace. The mountains and the hills shall break forth before you into singing, and all the trees of the field shall clap their hands. Arise, shine, O children of light, for my light is come upon thee, and thou shalt make the glory of the law to rise upon the new earth. And that was the prophecy of the Essene Gospel of Peace. This is a compendium, so it has all of them in one book. Again, I apologize. I'm learning a new phone or a new device. It's not new. It's new to me, but it's not new. And that's a whole weird thing, too. I could tell you that story, but I don't even want to get into it right now because it's just too much high strangeness. Makes a girl go a little wonky. So I'm trying to stay at peace right now and just hang out with my dogs. And I would encourage you to get out into nature as well. Take your dog for a walk, go for a walk with your significant other, but just try to have that joy in your spirit and reignite love in your heart for others. We have to stand against blatant deception. And that's what a lot of these movements are that we're seeing today. And that's why we've seen our leader pretty much go the way of the beast and turn into Nebuchadnezzar. What do you think? Are people around you changing again? Are they declining? Are you noticing a decline in their moral compass? Or yours? Examine yourself every day and go do something for somebody else. It helps to remind you that this isn't just your story, it's not just my story. So, have a blessed day. I hope you enjoyed that reading. I will get a better setup, obviously. I just have not been feeling well, and I've had to power through this and just kind of take care of myself and drink a whole lot of orange juice. So prayers are always accepted as long as they are the good ones. Learn a new skill. These are spirit wraps. They used to be like friendship bracelets or whatever. I used to put them in people's hair. Somebody from Florida taught me how to do them. And they're fun, but they can also be used if they're bigger for like glasses lanyards, and you can make a rosary, all kind of different things. But it's a skill, right? Do you know how to fish? Do you know how to garden? Do something relaxing that takes you away from the screens. I love you guys. Have a blessed day. Bye.